I want to say, before you met your husband, you had your vision, probably, like, this is the ideal partner. Was it completely different from your husband, or is it exactly what you wanted?
A little bit of both. Like, I genuinely feel like I was building this image in my head, and like at some point I met him and it was just amazing. Like, it's really cool because right before I met him, I came across this guy who was really tall and had blue eyes and dark hair, and I was like this close to him, you know, I think we might have kissed, and I was like, ooh, like, this is really nice. I never thought that, you know, dark hair and blue eyes could be so attractive to me. And so I put that on my list and I just forgot about it. And then at some point, like shortly after, I met my husband and I was like, wow, this is so cool. But I also wished for six-pack abs and he didn't have that when I met him. It only happened like a few months later, like 3 months into, I'm like, oh my God, it's arrived. Yeah, I'm really into looks. Mm-hmm. But the funny thing is, before I met my husband, I was like, why am I not meeting the right person? And then my friend told me, well, you know that long list you have? Yeah, focus on the stuff that's important. And then the 3 things I focused on that were non-negotiable to me had nothing to do with looks or money or anything. It was 3 things that were purely like emotional.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's the long list doesn't really help.
I just wanted someone who would love me, accept me, like not only accept me, because there's a lot to accept, but like be proud of everything I was doing.
And it has to be hot, come on.
Yeah, that's like a prereq, you know? It's like, don't even bother putting it on the list because it has to, that's a must.
Yes, thank you. Elise?
I'm single. Mm-hmm. I'm not dating anyone at the moment, and I feel like happy being single. Mm-hmm. But for me, emotional maturity is very important, and of course they have to be like they have to have money, financially independent, and yeah, I feel like they should be like they have to be emotionally available in general, that you can talk about emotions and they can talk about their emotions and shouldn't be like a wall or something. So communication, emotions are very important, and of course look is important, but it's not like very, very high priority for me. But it's not like I cannot fall for a person that I'm not attracted to just because they are emotionally mature. So they have to be like all of them gather together. They have to make a combination or something. But I don't go for after a guy that is very good looking and I just forget about other things and just fall in love. It's not my thing at all.
I also think that like a really good looking person, sometimes after you get to know them, they just become like the ugliest person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I experienced that too.
And the other way around too.
Exactly.
Like I always think about that movie, what is the one, The Holiday?
Oh,
right?
with Jude Law?
And Jack Black, who's like kind of chubby, but then you like fall in love with his talent. And
Jack Black is
amazing.
amazing.
He's like Tenacious D. I love that song. We sing it a lot. Like when me and my husband do something together, we'll be like, that's f***ing teamwork. I know it's so lame, but yeah, Jack Black.
It's very funny you say that, because I met a guy and he was so attractive. I was like, wow. And then when he opened his mouth, I lost all attraction. Yeah. I didn't even wanted
so many times to me.
I
didn't even wanted to say hi back to him anymore because it was just like gone.
It's really interesting because like the person can become literally disgusting within a couple of seconds. Exactly. Right?
Yes. Oh my God.
And that goes for ex-boyfriends, right? Because you were like going out with them, you had this great relationship. And I actually, about one of my ex-boyfriends, I was literally at this, it barely happens, but I remember looking at him always and going like, this is my prince. Like I never had these thoughts before, you know, it's so, you know, I was like, this is my prince.
Like a Disney prince.
And then he turned out to be like really damaged in many different ways. And after we broke up, I looked at him and I thought, he's not that good looking at all. But he actually was, but not to me anymore. So totally the chemistry, like, you know, it's just like can go away very quickly.
So fast.
Yeah. Okay, so you mentioned financially independent, like money, right? I agree with that 100%. And I had a discussion with Ammar, he's come in here, but we had kind of like a disagreement on that, so I'm gonna ask him as well. When I meet someone, and I want to know your opinion, when I meet someone, it's very important for me what they do, right?
Like profession, career and stuff?
Yes. Okay. And because it tells me a lot about them. I'll give you an example, right? Number one, of course, if he tells me he's unemployed, I think it shows something very serious, okay? Like it shows a personality and like laziness, or, you know, if he's unemployed because he's looking for a bigger opportunity or starting his business, that's a different story, right? And secondly, if he tells me, for example, you know, he's a bartender for like the last 10 years and this is all he's been doing, I don't want to date him. And it's not because of the money, it's just because he's not interesting, he's not ambitious, and he's quite opposite of me. Why would I date him? Like, no. Exactly. So what do you think about it?
I totally get that. Like, I actually went on a date with a really good looking guy and he was a bartender in Paris. And actually, when you're a bartender in Paris, you could potentially make like a ton of money. You know, it's kind of like if you're working in I'm sorry to make this analogy, but if you're working in a strip club, you could potentially like go home with no money, or you could make like a few thousand in one night. So it's kind of like that with bartending too, but also they're very well connected. Because like he took me on a date at some fancy restaurant where, you know, it's expensive and you would probably spend like thousands there if you were paying a guest, but we got everything for free because they have like their little network. And so he's quite happy there. And when I met him, I was like, well, you know what, I live in Thailand, and guess what, someone with your capabilities, you could be a manager at the St. Regis even at your age, because I knew the manager at the St. Regis in Bangkok. He was 29 years old and he was already the F&B manager. 29. Wow. Like, could you be that here in Europe or in London? No. But in Asia, you have that opportunity to climb really high, really fast if you're ambitious. And he told me, oh no, I'm happy to be a bartender. Like, I don't want that kind of stress.
So that didn't work with you? Or...
Oh, that was just a fling anyway. I was on holiday.
Yeah. Good. Good. Yeah. Elise, what do you think about it?
I don't have a specific thing. For example, I don't say that that person has to be like a doctor, engineer, or have a very high profile job. But as you say, ambition is very important. That what makes them to wake up every morning and what they are looking for in life in general. So I fall a lot for their mindset, that what they think, how they see the world, and at the same time if they care about what's happening in the world. Because I don't want a rich guy that doesn't have any clue what's happening in other countries, I don't know, with women, children, society. So it just lose all the interest to me. I feel like, no, I don't like that person. A matter of fact, I don't like to date doctors because I feel like they're very boring. So I really don't. So for me, it's really about if we can talk in the same level, if we have like subjects to like same interests, I don't know. But as I said, they have to make money that they can at least take care of themselves, that I shouldn't go around and think about, okay, what should we do about money, or how we should pay for this and that. At least I want, if we want to go for a holiday, at least I don't want to be worried about how we're going to afford it. And at the same time, of course, they have to earn their money from legal ways.
Oh my God.
So it's very important to mention that I don't want money in every, like they're gonna bring money. I don't know, maybe it sounds very obvious, but maybe not very obvious at the same time. That they cannot just bring money in whatever way. it's very important for me that it's gonna be in a, like, they have to be proud of what they do, and they have to be like openly talk about it, that okay, I do this job for making this money.
Because the thing is, you know, it's a deal breaker. It doesn't matter what kind of job that is, but he needs to like love it and progress with it.
Oh yeah, exactly, for sure. And I mean, I don't want to like talk down on bartenders or anything. Like I said, they're very well connected and they potentially can make a lot of money. But at the end of the day, it's a health issue too. Like if you're working late nights every single night, like you're killing yourself slowly. Yeah. So I think that's another aspect. Yeah. And it wouldn't align with my life, at least not right now. I sleep quite early.
I feel like people who work in exactly what's called in general, like in restaurants, hotels and stuff, hospitality, exactly. They have very different lifestyle. They don't have like weekends like we have. They don't have like they're gonna work holidays, or they have to work like overnight and then come back early in the morning. So it's very like you have to really, really make a choice when you want to date this person, because it's gonna affect your lifestyle too. So
it's the same the other way around. Like people who work in hospitality make the sacrifice of not having like the opportunity to date someone because of their scheduling and all that.
But my problem was when somebody tells me
they're not passionate.
Yeah, they're doing the same job for like 5 years. I don't see like the growth.
I can tell you that I dated a guy for 2 years, and then he was like, it was like 10 years ago, so he was like 23, 4. He had already house, car, job, everything, and he was done with life. He was like, I have everything I need. So, and then his parents had like houses and stuff, so he could go for winter holiday, I don't know, like summer holiday, and he was like done with life. He was just 23, but already like, I have everything I need. So that's what you are talking about, passion, you know, that.
That's my tea.
No,
they got it.
Yeah,
they're gonna share.
Yeah.
And first, let me just
introduce.
Yes, like a short introduction so the viewers know who you are.
So I'm Ammar. I'm currently building a AI tech startup for dyslexia entrepreneur, also running personal development events as well. I'm very much into mindset, and I agree with some of what you've already said, but I also disagree with some other things as well. But we can get into it.
You're allowed to be disagree.
Yes.
I know, I'm in the lion's. I just literally said. I was just feeling like I feel like I'm on Shark Tank.
Yes. So basically, where I finished my talk.
Double standards.
Yes, double standards. Okay, and we're gonna get he's already laughing. We're gonna get the male perspective here as well. So, and we actually started talking about it on the last event. I'm going to ask each and one of you, what do you think about it? But imagine a situation that there is a unemployed woman, kind of, we can say good looking. Okay, she's unemployed and she's living with her parents, and she's around like 30 years old, let's say, you know. And she doesn't have any money, she lives with the parents, and she's unemployed. When she goes on a date, she can still find a boyfriend. And I know people like that. So I'm not saying she's a catch, but she finds a boyfriend and, you know, she can get laid just like that. She doesn't have problems like, you know, finding a partner. However, if a guy in his 30s lives with his parents and he's unemployed and doesn't have money, I don't think he can get laid or find a girlfriend. Okay, who wants to start? Do you agree with that or like disagree?
Yeah, I agree, but I don't think it's double standard. It's just the result of society, the patriarchy, because feminism is a very, very new thing. There is many people even don't agree. There's many men, they tell to their wives that I don't want you to work. I want you to stay home and raise children. And there's many women says yes to it. They don't have any problem with that. So it's the result of the patriarchy, because we expect men to be a provider, to bring money, to bring food on table, but we don't have that expectations from women yet. But there is still, even though there is many women, I didn't know that, but because of the social media, you see that many girls are actually dating people who are not like men, who are not like they are jobless, and they pay for them, and they are happy with that too. So it goes like both ways.
Go on.
I think that's a really good point as well. I think society has changed a lot of norms. The way growing up men are taught is you are the provider, you must put food on the table, women stay home and cook. A friend of mine, she said she's a house mum, a brilliant wife, but she also wants to do her own business, very successful at that. But she said we're getting double bubble, effectively. We have to cook, clean, bring up the kids, and run a business is hard enough in itself. So effectively society is saying, and feminism is also saying, women, we want you to work, but they also want you to look after the kids. So it's almost like a double jeopardy.
I feel like we live in a society or a world where you can do what you want. Like, why do you listen so much to what media or governments or society says? You can create the world and the life that you want for yourself.
I mean, the reason that you can say that is because of feminism. It's not very long time ago that women didn't have any right to choose what kind of life they want. You had to be married, you had to have children. So it's very, like, in many, maybe in London it's possible, but there is many countries women still are not able to choose their lives. They have to just follow the society's norms. So I mean, these discussions are necessary to just put a little bit light on the situations of women. We are very lucky that we can choose our lives. I can wake up and decide if I want to go to work or not. If I want to, I don't know, I just can pack and travel wherever in the world I want. But there is very, very low percentage of people that are able to do that actually. So I feel like we need these discussions, even though
I think that's me, because I was okay. Go on.
Yeah, I didn't want to contradict you, Vonny, but I feel like it's very privileged that some people can do that.
I'm going to turn this off.
I do mine as well. Oh, mine's already done. That's really good.
Mine is always silent.
Good.
I'm late, but I'm good.
Mine is always silent, so there is no danger in that. Yeah, I was just saying that these discussions are necessary, even though few people can decide what they want to do with their lives. And we are the lucky ones that we are able to do that, because there is many women that they are not women, that they are not able to do that actually.
I would, so I'm gonna ask you now, basically, because you make good points. Ladies, I'll start with you. What makes a man? What do you think defines a man? And I'm not talking about alpha male, but just like, is it he needs to provide? Even if you don't need his money, is it like the ability that he's able and capable of providing for you just in case something happens? Or is it, because you mentioned in the beginning emotional intelligence, like being able to share your, talk to him and open up and all that. So because for example, like, what defines a man? Like, because obviously if men have a way too strong feminine side, so when they basically turn into like us, maybe we can just date women, like, like there's no, but like emotional intelligence is important, but I don't want a guy to come from work and he's just gonna be like, oh, I had my job and I want to talk about my feelings, and I'm like, no.
I have so many unpopular ideas, so maybe it's one of them. For me,
really?
For me, gender doesn't mean anything. You know, as you say that you just live your life the way you want. But I said for women is not like so easy because there is so many obstacles. But if we think about a perfect world, I don't think so gender is important. It's important what you want to do with your life, what's your dreams, what's your, I don't know, ambitions, what you want to do with your life, for example, creativity, or what you want to create, what you want to... That's it. It doesn't have anything to do with gender. I wish, for example, I have so much against like gender reveal that they started now, that they want to like make a huge deal out of what gender a kid has. But actually, it shouldn't matter if we just let kids be kids, despite of, okay, they have genders, they are girls or boys or whatever. Maybe a girl want to go to space. Maybe they want to be a housewife. Maybe a man want to be a housewife. Husband, wife, husband.
There's such a thing.
There's big.
Yeah.
There's big movement. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I mean that's a thing. Like whoever in the relationship is able to bring in more money, it could be the woman. Then the man stays home to take care of the kids because
I love the idea.
I completely agree with you, and I think I think it's equality. I think the one thing I do agree with you, we put a lot of labels on kids, a lot of labels on this person should be that way, this person should be that way. I do think we shouldn't. I think where we've got to is with kids, we should let them be kids.
Yeah.
And let them grow up, and then when they're old enough to their own mindsets, their own age to make their own decisions, then there's so much information out there for them to grow. But when you have kids this very, very young, I feel like society's gone the other way rather than just normality, I think. And I think kids are losing that as well. And we're also losing the way to communicate as well, because we spend so much time on social media. But the face-to-face, people lose the ability to communicate. Some people, like, you see people at a dinner table, which I find when on a date and they're both on their phones all through the date. You're like, I find that the most saddest thing ever, because you're not actually, you're chatting to someone else. There's no point you being there, to be honest. You might as well just be at home. But you force yourself to go out. Yeah, so like me and my wife, we have date nights where we turn off all tech and make sure there's no technology on. And we actually have to chat to each other and be there, be present. And I think we're losing the ability of being present with people. I think that's what most people want, really.
Yeah. And I feel there is one thing I wanted to add. There is a psychologist by the name of Maslow. Maybe you heard about it. The Maslow's hierarchy. I feel like women never reach the last hierarchy, that is creativity, because we are just designed by society or by families that, okay, you're gonna get married, you're gonna have children, and then that's it. You are a good mother, you are a good daughter, you are a good wife. We never reach that level of creativity. We never reached the level of, oh, I want to discover myself. Maybe I am the person who can, for example, discover the next vaccination, or I don't know, to create the next vaccination, or the next person who do this and that. But we don't see that between women. I don't believe that women are less smart than men, but men are given more opportunities. They are expected to be smart. They are expected to do this and that. They are expected to write books, do researches, do this and that. But women, no, you can just sit in the house and, I don't know, cook, clean, whatever.
This is kind of how I've seen it, like, being years ago. But I think it's like getting like really good, at least here.
I know, like so many women have done so many amazing things.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, like
I was never told to stay at home and make kids, but I don't know, I guess there are people,
because we're coming from different cultures, so like it's,
so I don't know, what culture do you come from where women are being told
now
that?
if you see, even if you see like in general, we don't have, like, they are not equal. If you see like politics, for example, in a country like USA, we never had or they never had a woman as a president, and they believe that Hillary Clinton didn't get like elected because she was a woman. You see? Because they didn't
but
vote
who
for
says
her.
That? Like, I
because
don't agree. For example,
I think
but
Hillary Clinton. When we start saying Hillary Clinton didn't get because she's a woman, I think there's a lot of baggage with her. I think she lost a lot of respect from the voters in the USA, the way her husband was. I'm not going to get into politics because I think that's a whole kettle of fish that we do.
Exactly.
I think we should stay on topic, but on the topic of, I think, depending where you're from, but I think women these days, or I've got a lot of my friends from all different backgrounds, but they're telling the young girls they can be whatever they want to be. And I think me and Vonny had the same thing, but I think there's so many women accomplishing so many amazing things. But also I think society, there's still a glass ceiling, but if we put so many labels on people, we're giving people an excuse not to do it. It shouldn't be rather if it's a man or woman, it should be on that person, what do they want to do and where do they want to go to.
Exactly.
Because I think one of my favourite quotes, someone said, if, in a relationship or in our relationships, we put so many sticky labels on what we want people to be. And if we take those sticky labels off, we trade our expectations for appreciation, our whole world changes in a moment. And that's in relationships of yourself, with your friends, with your family. You always expect people to be a certain way. And I'm guilty of that. And once I changed that, and I was like, I want my friends to do this. But then I just appreciated them for what they've done. And your relationship just...
What you focus on expands.
Yeah. That was Tony. That wasn't my quote. That was Tony Robbins' quote. So.
Oh, is that what he says too?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Tony Robbins. So.
Yeah.
I've been to a lot, but it's all about the. I think where relationships go wrong is expectations. Like, for example, you must take the trash out, or your friend must call you within 2 hours if you then missed your call. That sounds really. I'm not saying that is, but it's the end of the day. We put so many sticky notes. That's why most relationships you stop hearing each other. You stop communicating to each other, and that's also a skill we've lost, because previously, without mobile phones, we had to actually talk to each other at the dinner table. Now we just find, my phone's gone off, I'll just check my future, rather than just actually chatting to that person.